Iran's direct attack on Israel. And tonight, what sources are telling ABC News about two separate moments since that Iranian attack, when Israel was set to retaliate again.
This is old news. The video is old, but here's the new article. Wait, what? Israel Gaza live updates. Israeli missiles hit a site in Iran. Iran on Saturday night unleashed a retaliatory strike against Israel, sending a volley of more than 300 uncrewed drones. The attack on Israel came more than 6 months after Hamas. Wait, what? Why the fuck doesn't have... Oh, here it is. Israeli missiles have hit a site in Iran. A U.S. official confirmed to ABC News Israeli missiles have hit a site in Iran. The official could not confirm whether the Syria and Iraq sites were hit as well. This is weird. This is very weird. Like, why is it only on ABC News like this? Nothing ever happens. I mean, it could. Iran could just eat it. You know what I mean? I don't know. If Iran just eats it and then Israel decides not to further escalate, the nothing ever happens boys will be correct. I mean, something is... the irony of nothing ever happens is... The irony of the nothing ever happens, guys, is that you can only say that if you live in America. Because it basically just means nothing ever happens. Meanwhile, you're saying that while fucking 30,000 plus Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered by the apartheid regime in Israel with American weapons. Like, things are always happening. It's just not happening to you. You know what I mean? That's all this is. So if you're interested in this, or if you're confusion, or if you're if the outcome that you're trying to find out is like, will this harm me in some way? Then yeah, you will go, yeah, nothing ever happens, really, lol. Pro-Iranian sources are sharing footage of reported air defense activity over Isfahan, Iran. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the validity of this. What I do know is, please, after this commercial break, get to the news, man, like the actual news. S&P downgrades Israel's sovereign rating on heightened geopolitical risk. An hour ago, the Iranian foreign minister, before these attacks, said if Israel takes action, Iran's response will be immediate and at a maximum level. So I don't understand what the fuck's going on, because I don't think Israel would strike Iranian targets without telling America, in the interest of self-preservation, so that they could gear up the American defenses for the inevitable retaliation. Do you understand what I mean? Like, that would truly be insane. Iranian Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian warned Israel on Thursday against taking any military action against Iran in the case so far. We have a couple fucking we have no footage of the explosions. We have so far it's as insane as Putin invading Ukraine, maybe. I mean, Yes, but even more insane because, again, I don't know why you would do that without telling America, because then America can't launch a proper defense. I don't follow politics often. Does this not happen usually? Isn't Israel always bombing shit? How is this going to lead to World War III? Brother, I don't know how to explain this to you, but Iran never directly struck Israel from Iran with missiles and rockets directed from Iran until this past week. That was truly unprecedented. It was not unprovoked, but it was certainly unprecedented. Okay? That was a big fucking deal, especially considering what the Israeli retaliation would look like. Israel said that they weighed their options, and on immediately they were interested in striking back, but chose not to do so because they wanted to communicate with the American allies. The Israeli public also was not interested in it. Israel has the ability to conduct strikes against targets inside of Iran. What? Without entering Iranian airspace from aircraft over Syrian and Iraqi airspace? I mean, Marco Rubio would be the guy that is knowledgeable on this matter. I mean, he's not a random dickhead. He is a dickhead and he is stupid, but this isn't that. Yeah, we don't have anything other than this. Israeli missiles have hit a site in Iran. That's it. That's the only thing we have. ABC News' Martha Raddatz confirms that a U.S. official confirmed to ABC News that Israeli missiles have hit a site in Iran. That's it. Do you think the U.S. veto of Palestinian recognition potentially emboldened Israel? Like, obviously, we don't know they're responsible, but yet, no. Ken Klippenstein and everyone else that you are talking about on Twitter are literally just repeating the same thing that we are looking at, which is this. This is the only substantive piece of information that is, I would say, not fully verified even for the matter, for what the circumstances are right now. But this is the only fucking piece of information that we have. What is this? They are insane. Miscalculation led to escalation and clash between Israel and Iran. Israeli officials say they didn't strike on a high-level Iranian target in Syria as a provocation and did not give Washington a heads up about it until right before it happened. Yeah, they gave him a 5-minute warning, which is crazy. This video was posted by the IRGC. Was it? Was it? Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. It is suspicious. Is it suspicious that the information is coming so slowly? Yes. It also does feel like too insane even for Israel. And no, it was not sent by the IRGC. You guys are silly.
Secretary Austin, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Undersecretary of Defense Comptroller testified before the House Appropriations Subcommittee.
This is early today. This is not from right now.
The importance of passing the Defense Department's fiscal year 2020.
This is literally not right now. I mean, it's being reported on currently, but that's from earlier. That's an earlier State Department report. Number 2 on the U.S. Senate Intel Committee, after reports indicate that Israel has hit a site in Iran, U.S. officials tell Al Arabiya English that they anticipate an Israeli retaliation tonight or tomorrow. It does unironically feel like we're playing catch up. Like the American government is playing catch up.
We turn now to ABC's Matt Gutman, who is in Israel with the latest reporting. Matt, what are you hearing?
Juju, a senior U.S. official telling us that Israeli missiles have hit at least one site inside Iran. No reports yet on casualties or what specifically this site was. As you mentioned, Israel has been telegraphing that it will respond. Officials telling me at the time and place of their choosing, they did not specify what that response would be like. We didn't know when it would come. And of course, this is in response to that massive missile salvo from last Saturday, the largest ballistic missile salvo in history. And of course, Iran has said that if Israel chooses to respond, the Iranian response would be severe and immediate. Juju.
Matt, thank you. From the latest in Israel, let's turn now to Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz in D.C. with the latest. Martha, what are you hearing?
It is a single senior U.S. official who said that it had started, that Israel had retaliated and hit one site in Iran. There are reports this evening that other places, Iraq and Syria, have been hit. This U.S. senior official said they simply cannot confirm that. There were reports yesterday that Israel would hold off on these strikes until after Passover. But today we started getting indications that it could come much quicker than that. This senior official also said the Israelis have been quite secretive about this, so there's very little information we have at this point about the strike that the U.S. senior official said that Israel had made inside Iran.
Well, Martha Raddatz, thank you for that update. Of course, we will return to our regular reporting. This has been a special report. Stay tuned, of course, for the latest updates.
That's it?
And we return you now to your regular programming.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Our thanks to Juju for that. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Davis. For those of you who are just joining us, we are, of course, following breaking news. Israel has retaliated against Iran, and we are learning from a senior U.S. official Israeli missiles have hit a site in Iran. There have been explosions heard in Iraq and Syria. At this hour, it is not clear the cause of those explosions. All of this comes just days after Iran fired hundreds of ballistic missiles into Israel. 99% of those were intercepted. Israel's war cabinet has spent the better part of the week debating a response. There was some talk of waiting until after the Jewish holiday of Passover. We're waiting for a U.S. response at this point, but President Biden had told Netanyahu that Israel would have to go at it alone on any counterstrike against Iran. I want to pivot now and bring in Mick Mulroy, also an ABC News contributor and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East. Mick, how big of an escalation is this for the region?
So if it is true that these strikes were in Iran, then it could be an escalation, but we have to see what targets were hit. If they were nuclear sites, that would be a very substantial escalation. If it was a site, say, that was a manufacturer of the Shahed drones that attacked Iran, potentially not as escalatory. But really, it does come down to the perception of Iran. Right now, it's really important for us to find out what happened, and I'm sure that's exactly what the U.S. government is doing to try to gather this information and be prepared potentially for a counterattack, which could have been already prepared by Iran, knowing this was likely coming.
How concerned are you about the potential for a full-scale regional conflict?
I think everybody should be concerned about a full-scale regional conflict right now. This was substantial, the attack by Iran on Israel. That's why they felt like they had to respond. But the biggest concern, I think, with all countries involved including countries in the region, was this could escalate. And it could escalate to a point where it's just nonstop. There is no calculated return. It is just a exchange of fire from Iran to Israel, Israel to Iran, which, of course, would be devastating to the region.
For our viewers at home, how concerned, people are thinking, oh, this is half a world away, but what could the impacts be here in the United States and beyond?
So, yes, it is half a world away, but the world itself is much closer than it's ever been, especially when it comes to the economy. And I'm not an economic analyst, but you don't have to be to realize just how big of an impact this could have on world oil prices, for example, which is the underlying cost of everything that's transferred around the world. So this could be very substantial for the world community, and that's why there's so much attention to this right now.
All right, Nick Mulroy, our thanks to you. Want to bring in Matt Gutman, who is on the ground for us.
Bro, Isfahan, like limited or not, nuclear facility or not, is still a target on Iranian soil.
You understand that Israel, according to at least one U.S. official, has fired missiles that have landed in Iran. We don't know the nature of the site, what they targeted. We don't know if there are casualties at this point. There may be additional strikes in other places. We don't have that yet confirmed. Of course, this is in retaliation to that massive missile.
They're talking about oil prices in the same way that I talk about oil prices. They have to talk about it because that is how wars are fought and won, okay? They're talking about the impact that this will potentially have for the United States of America because they're American news broadcasters and they don't give a shit about Iranian lives or the lives of anybody else for that matter. That's why they're covering it from that perspective, as I have as well, time and time again, because Iran retaliating. Iranian Fars agency says explosions sounded near Isfahan airport and Hashtam Shikari air base. Yeah, I just don't think that. Matt Saylor replied to you. What did he say? He said, we're working to confirm whether those reported explosions from Israeli strikes. I can't understand how there isn't more information on this in real time. It might not be the nuclear, it might not be the nuclear facility, which is fine, but it still means it is a fucking escalation, as in it is a direct attack to Iranian soil from Israel.
Cyber attacks or the...
Now, Israel has struck Iranian soil in the past, but it's more of like an open secret type situation, like I said, and not necessarily with this many eyeballs, especially with like the Iranian government saying that they will have a severe and swift retaliation if such a strike would occur.
Attack from its territory to Iranian territory and been essentially public about it. Lindsay.
And of course, many people are concerned about the implications of that on a wider scale. Matt Gutman, our thanks to you reporting in from
the fact that the Iranian government is saying like, oh, we don't know the source of the attack is actually very interesting, specifically because I feel like if they acknowledge it, then it demands swift retaliation.
Ongoing since October 7th between Hezbollah and Israel, it's safe to say. So that is the main issue here for Hezbollah. Does it get actively involved in in a war with Israel. I mean, look, this is Iran's largest and most powerful proxy. They have more than 100,000 rockets, according to the CIA, and actually more Hezbollah fighters have been killed since October 7th than were killed in the war between Israel and Hezbollah in 2006. So it's safe to say the war here has already begun. But every time Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah here in Lebanon, has been asked about Hezbollah's role in this war, he always talks about needing to have solidarity with the people of Gaza, wanting to support Hamas, supporting the October 7th attacks, but crucially not wanting to get more involved in this war. It just might not be up to him if Israel chooses to respond to these attacks by Iran by hitting Iran's largest proxy in this country. Tonight it's too early to say exactly what targets have been hit by the Iranians, but it doesn't seem at this point.
The cause of the sounds is still unknown. Investigations continue until the exact details of the incident are determined, a semi-official Fars news agency said. Iran's Fars news agency said on Friday the explosions were heard near the airport of the country's central Isfahan city, but the reasons was unknown. It is interesting to see. It is interesting to see that the Iranian government is not hitting the fucking full tilt like this was Israel and we're retaliating. We also have no information, no further confirmation on the reasons or the strikes or the targets on the potential explosions being heard in Syria and Iraq. We don't know. We don't know anything. There might literally not even have been fucking any explosions, and we just, I guess, saw it on Twitter. It fucking sucks. The footage seemed legit to you? No, man. No footage seems legit yet. And people that say this footage was posted by the IRGC, they're not actually getting the footage from the IRGC. Okay? They're going to Telegram. They're simply going to Telegram, and they're posting shit that they find on Telegram. This is more official. NOTAM has popped up for Tehran airspace, and 17 minutes ago it was for the Isfahan airspace. Telegram is accurate as fuck. No, brother, you have no idea what you're looking at half the fucking time. You might be looking at explosions from 2003. You might be looking at fucking Arma footage. Okay.
Tracking that a number of flights have diverted their flights over the skies and away from the skies of Iran this evening. We also understand that a NOTAM, a no-fly zone, has been declared in the west of Iran.
I was just about to explain to you what a NOTAM was, and he did. So there you go, chatter. You got your information.
From local sources on the ground, locally reported, unconfirmed by us, that there have been other explosions. We can also say that earlier on this evening, a number of small earthquakes were detected in Iran. All of these different developments, John, we're trying to piece together to give a complete picture of what is happening. Of course, there has been huge expectation that Israel was going to strike back in a decisive way at Iran. Indeed, Prime Minister Netanyahu said just a couple of days ago that that would be happening. And the British Foreign Secretary indicated he understood there would be strikes in Iran. What we are trying to assess right now is who is behind these explosions reported in Isfahan, what the bigger picture is adding up to at the moment, and therefore the implications that this might lead to. I think we're at the very leading edge here, John, of trying to get a solid picture of what is happening in Iran tonight. But airspace affected, explosions reported around a significant city with significant bases and a major nuclear research facility in Iran tonight, John.
And Nick, a second Iranian media outlet now reporting that in Isfahan that there have been significant strikes there. So let's stay with it. You mentioned we've been expecting this. Just for our viewers, just go through the timeline. Remember, back on April 1st, Israel was blamed for an attack on the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria. And then, as Nick noted, back last Saturday on the 13th, Iran deployed more than 300 drones and other aerial weapons to attack on Israel. After that, Nick, the President of the United States, who helped the United States, Britain, other Western allies, helped repel the Iranian attack. And the appeal from President Biden to Israel was, you proved they couldn't hit you. You know, don't do anything provocative. Don't do anything that further escalates a region already on end. Prime Minister Netanyahu has not listened to the President of the United States.
My man said blame, by the way.
Conflict.
Yeah, blame for the strike on the embassy compound.
John, I think what it's safe to say at the moment is that it appears as in all likelihood that Israel has struck Iran. Now, if this has happened, has the Prime Minister dialed back what he might have otherwise planned? Certainly, there's been a huge international...
Bro, don't even know the details, and he's already running covered. That's crazy, bro. Get the dick out of your mouth. Holy shit. That's crazy.
The President of Israel do not escalate the situation, but both seem to accept that Israel was going to go ahead, John.
Bro, that's insane to be like, yeah, I mean, we don't even know what happened, but it's probably, you know, Israel is probably being restrained here. They can't say now getting an update that a second on the news like that anymore. Those days ended on 9/11. That's insane, bro. That's insane to fucking say.
Good evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. There's breaking news tonight. Reports that Israel may have hit back. Iran's semi-official Fars news agency, citing local sources, says tonight an explosion was heard northwest of Isfahan. That is about 4 hours south of the capital.
Okay, this seems reliable. IRGC affiliated media has confirmed airstrikes hit a target in Isfahan tonight, and this video footage has emerged, purportedly showing the impact, the major hit by all accounts. I don't know. I don't know if this is correct. No, this is a Hezbollah strike earlier. I don't know if this is from Isfahan. I don't know. I still don't know. Especially because I don't think there were air sirens when the explosion occurred. So I don't know.
This comes from now multiple Iranian semi-official news outlets. The latest from Press TV reporting that an explosion was heard near Iran's central city of Esfahan. The reason is still unknown, and that echoes what we heard just moments ago from another semi-official news agency
Hezbollah airstrike 7 hours ago.
So here we have Iranian media itself reporting an explosion or explosions in one of Iran's most prominent cities, Esfahan. It is in the middle of the country, towards the western part of the country. It does have a prominent nuclear facility, but I will note that this was near Esfahan. So it is very much unclear what the target may have been, indeed how this was carried out. We have not heard anything, Abby, from the IDF, from any Israeli officials. We have not heard anything from any American officials. We, of course, are checking with our sources. This is something that we have been anticipating for several days now. It has always been a...
Twitter has literally gotten worse. It's just gotten so much worse. There's no fucking breaking real-time news reporting happening
this historic attack
on this fucking godforsaken platform
without escalating the situation.
Don't click shit, bro. It doesn't matter. It's good to sometimes click the shit, specifically to dial back. Twitter is the best. You don't follow OSINT accounts, you need to do that, sir. There's a reason why I don't follow OSINT accounts. This is the reason. Bro, shut the fuck up about Blue Sky, okay? If I want to learn about how, like, eating Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is ableist, then I'll go to Blue Sky, okay? The next time I want to hear about how, like, I don't know, like, queer theory needs to also factor in, like, I don't know, Aboriginal tribes or something, I'll go to Blue Sky, okay? Like, that's the most prescient, most important thing that I need to fucking worry about. Motherfucker, shut up about fucking Blue Sky. Update direct from Iranian media. New flights to Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, and all of the other airports in western Iran have been suspended Iran state-affiliated Mehr news agency reports. Okay, this is more substantive. It's just like, if I want to read radical disabled queer praxis or something, like a poster saying shit like that, I'll go to Blue Sky, okay? What this means for you is like what the what the possible Israeli airstrikes on Iranian soil mean for those with a learning disability and an eating disorder.
In the skies above Iran have indicated within the past hour or so that flights have been changing their flight paths to avoid Iranian airspace. We're also aware that in the last half an hour or so, a NOTAM, a no-fly declaration has been made.
I didn't know you had this much smoke for Blue Sky. It's just like, it's fun to look at from the outside, but it's not something that I can utilize for real-time coverage, because it's mostly shit that I talk about, like mostly shit that I meme about. That's what it is. And no, you can't get captions because they're broken.
Route for them might be from the west. So that piece of information, I think, is telling and important. And I think what first caught our attention here earlier on this evening, which could be completely unrelated, but a number of small earthquakes were recorded in several Iranian desert locations outside of cities. Now, there's no.
Bro, they got the earthquake gun on God, bro. That's it. I'm convinced. Bro, Israel had the fucking earthquake gun this whole time, dude. Why'd they do that to Taiwan?
In other cities, we know
I'm
of at
kidding.
least
Please
two
don't take that seriously.
other cities where the local population that we cannot confirm at the moment, I should stress that, cannot confirm, have reported unexplained explosions. Now, of course, in Iran, people can be concerned about the possibility of this pending Israeli airstrike threat, and people can misread things that can be as much as an exploding tire on the road outside of where they live. So I stress, all this information has to be tracked down. And of course, Iran controls the information flow inside the country, and the internet is not ready available, and Twitter is not ready available, and you know, high-speed cellular network connection is not so ready for people. The Iranian government controls that because they want to control the message and information, whether it's about protests on the street or the explosions that may be happening in the country. So the fact that we're only through the news channels that are sanctioned by the government of Iran hearing about explosions in one city or close to one city, Isfahan, is only, as far as we can tell at the moment, part of the picture of what we think may be happening. But it's going to take time for us to look at what we hear, look at the details we're getting, cross-reference them, and try to get some better clarity on them.
Yeah, and Nick, as you're talking there, I just want to reset for people who may be just joining us. We can report now that there have been explosions heard inside of Iran near the city of Isfahan. That's about a few hundred miles south of Tehran. That's a city that is the third most populous city in Iran.
Iran is hiding this means a lot. They're preparing a military response, in my opinion. No, they could be just trying to, like, they could be also hiding it like they have in the past when Israel has, like, conducted military operations on Iranian soil without openly fucking stating it. But it doesn't. If you noticed, a lot of the Iranian information that's coming out, a lot of the Iranian information that's coming out from Iranian sources simply confirm explosions and never really says, like, it's an Israeli strike. The only thing that we have to tie this back to Israel, potentially, and even the ABC journalist who broke the story responded to me saying, we haven't tied this back to Israel yet, was the ABC reporting coming from one U.S. official. One U.S. official stating that that Israel has struck Iran. That's it. And also, I guess Marco Rubio stating that like Israel doesn't need to go into Iranian airspace to strike Iran. They have targeting and they have weapons that they can hit Iran with from Syrian and Iraqi airspace or something like that. But it is weird that there isn't more information on the matter. Isfahan is home to the Khatami Air Base and is located northeast of the city. Yeah, he's just like tweeting this like, why is he fucking vague posting? Bro, stop vague posting like a fucking angsty teenager. What is happening? It's very odd. Like, what's going on? Oh, I really can't be alone right now, said Marco Rubio. Ladies, are you up? I really can't be alone right now. I'm feeling some type of way. I'm in my feelings. Yo, I never believed in magic until I saw all my dogs turn to snakes. Okay, the fuck do you mean, bitch? Explain what you are saying. Israel has the ability to conduct airstrikes against targets inside Iran without entering the Iranian airspace from aircraft over Syrian and Iraqi airspace. Okay, what does that mean? Is that what's going on? Is that what's going on? You fucking asshole. Just say it. What is this vague posting? And then he's like, Isfahan is home to Khatami Air Base. Yeah, he just thought this is a convenient time to drop facts that he knows about Iran, maybe. Breaking, semi-official Iranian Fars News citing local sources reports an explosion was heard northwest of Isfahan. Yeah, he's Drake and driving currently. The Israeli Air Force attacked Iran for the first time in response to the Iranian attack on Saturday. This is how reports are flying in Iran and the United States. Alertness in Israel for the Iranian response. We are on a special broadcast on News 13. I mean, they don't know shit either. The thing is, they don't fucking know either. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Literally no one knows. Not a single official, with the exception of the ABC report, has said a single damn thing. If you don't know the Duke Ellington tune Isfahan, it's the perfect music to go out if the war as the
limited and stayed within a minimum of frameworks. We will not continue. However, in case the Israeli regime embarks on adventurism again and takes action against the interests of Iran, the next response from us will be immediate and at a maximum level. It will be decisive.
As a trained intelligence official, when you hear that pretty absolutist language, it will be immediate and at a maximum level. It will be decisive. What do you hear?
Well, I take him at his word. I think, you know, right now the Iranian regime is very hard line, more so than perhaps in Iran's history. And so I take him at his word. I think they will.
MAP is a direct transposition of the NOTAM, the Notice the Airmen.
How can this be?
And it's the entire Iraq-Iran border.
It can be at all. But I take seriously what he's saying, and I believe the Iranians will respond. And I don't believe they can't stand another embarrassment like the first attack where they mounted this massive
Isn't this guy
attack,
being put in prison for treason already? Who, me?
Director Clapper, please stand by for us. I want to go live now to the Pentagon where Oren Lieberman is there standing by. Oren, anything you're hearing right now from military officials in this country?
Not at this point. Right now, U.S. officials are being very quiet.
This is crazy.
Here. We haven't gotten confirmation. Or
not crazy. Not as crazy as forgetting to run the top of the hour ad break and then running it 17 minutes in, but still crazy nonetheless. Here's the 3-minute ad break right now. I'm going to go pee.
Minister Yoav Gallant. So it's difficult to see the situation we're playing out right now with reports of explosions in Isfahan, Iran, as well as some explosions in Syria and Iraq as anything other than the Israeli response that they had been promising. A few interesting points to make here. Over the course of the past 6 months, we have seen Israel openly talk about some of its strikes in Lebanon, a smaller number in Syria. Here it seems, if this is indeed Israel once again choosing to be quiet. And this is a policy they had followed for many, many years, not talking about actions and strikes that they would carry out in Syria, sometimes in Iraq. There were a number of reasons for that. One of those was simply not to be seen as boasting or bragging about an attack, not to add insult to injury. So potentially Israel once again following that policy right now, aware of not only how sensitive the entire situation in the region is, but also the desire of the United States not to see the situation escalate anymore here. Now the question of explosions in Syria and Iraq. If Israel were to have attacked Iran, how would they do so, knowing that some of the countries that aided in the defense from the Iranian attack several days ago did not want to see anything coming through their airspace once again? Jordan, for example, would be an example of that. So how would Israel, if it wanted to, seek out to strike Iran? Obviously, the obvious choice there is going through Syria and then over Iraq, directly into Iran, likely with some sort of long-range missile taken from a fighter jet. Now the question of where does this go from here? I'll go back to Aaron Burnett's interview with the Iranian foreign minister, which aired, as you pointed out, just a couple of hours ago. Despite the fact that that was a completely ineffective Iranian attack on Israel, the foreign minister claimed victory. So it'll be interesting to see how they describe this attack when they're able to say more. Do they simply call it a complete failure? And what does that mean for their response? That's something the U.S. and, in all likelihood, Israel are right now watching very closely. Abby, one more question. The countries that participated in the defense of the Iranian attack, given the fact that this was, or at least appears to be, the Israeli response, do they do so again, given what we're looking at here? And that's another question that the U.S. and others have to answer.
A lot of questions at this hour, Oren. Thank you.
This is a little bit unrelated to the situation that's ongoing, but my dad came back from Turkey and he brought back some of my fucking figurines, including this Kevin Garnett Celtics figurine that I used to have and a shit ton of others. Remember when I told you guys that I played with toys until like a very late age? Here is Steve Nash. Scarface. Don't know why I had this one. Damn, this shit is like dirty. Oh, this one was sick. Punisher, Frank Castle. That I think I put like another person's like military gear on as well. That I put like different action figures military gear on. This was from Medal of Honor. A lot of these things, like I remember this vividly. This had a Thompson gun, but I think it's gone now. This is a Medal of Honor, World War II soldier. Conan the Barbarian. Look at the articulation on this bad boy. I don't remember what this is, but it's a zomber with its head blown out, but like a zombie soldier with his head blown out. I don't even know what that's from. I also don't know what this one is from either. Showing toys while Iran is being bombed, yeah. And this as well. I don't know. I'll show you guys more in a little bit. Spoiled child. Yes, I am a spoiled child. But it might be Spawn. some of this stuff I didn't even care for. I just simply had. Because they had like some level of articulation. But yeah. Wow, no one cares? Well, maybe you don't, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who do care in the chat.
In the sky above Iran. My language is incredibly careful here because we don't know what's actually happening in the skies there. We don't know what aircraft are there. There's a broad supposition that this could be an Israeli strike, but we don't have confirmation of that. We know Israel's been talking about striking back, but we don't know what's happening. We can piece together the picture. Something untoward is happening in the skies above Iran, and there are explosions close to a city that has a principal nuclear research facility, as well as multiple military bases. Again, we don't know the precise locations of these explosions, but we do know that they appear to be ongoing in pattern, at least as recently as the last half an hour. We also know that we've been tracking some other reports that have not yet come on Iranian state media. These have been social media reports. They have not yet come on state media in Iran in a couple of other cities. So let's be cautious about that information for the moment as we try to piece together at least what we know the state media is reporting in Iran.
That caution is important. I'm glad that you reiterated it. We've been telling our audience all hour so far that this is just really preliminary information, but these images, as you said, certainly seem to indicate that something is happening in Iran tonight. Nick, do stand by for us. We are getting word right now from Iran that flights into Tehran and Isfahan have been suspended. CNN military analyst and retired Major General Spider Marks is here with us as well. General Marks, what do these images tell you? I see it almost looks as if dawn is on the verge of breaking there, but I'm seeing in my eye multiple flashes of bright light in the sky. What do you see?
You guys thought I was joking when I said there's like...
Well, first of all, what we have to keep in mind is, as Nick described, is there is a litany of assumptions that everybody is making right now, and we're trying to piece all this together. One assumption is, was the United States apprised before Israel? If Israel made a strike, another assumption. Was the United States apprised a priori? If there was a strike, was it a series of cruise missiles that were launched from Israel or launched from some fighter en route Iran that never hit Iran airspace, but in fact released those cruise missiles? What was the ordnance on those cruise missiles? Damage assessment on the ground? Were there multiple engagements? Was this...
Woman on ABC just said it's not a hyperbole to be concerned about a possible global conflict. Can't believe people got mad at you for that. Yes, because people are fucking stupid, and they literally are only they only care about one thing, and that's just like fuck Hasan. They don't think.
The mother of all bombs.
They just react. They're reactionary.
Released a number of years ago in Afghanistan. Those have a very, because they're so large, about 30,000 pounds.
Notice language.
Can they be released by
An American official told Al Jazeera, we're aware of reports about Israel launching a strike inside.
Possibly an F-15 that was equipped appropriately. The empty weight of an F-15 plus the loaded weight underneath, you'd be right at right at the hair in terms of the distance, the tolerance, and the ability to do that. But again, I mean, these are all assumptions that we're making that will be pieced together here shortly.
Very shortly, we hope, because certainly there's a lot of speculation going on right now about what might have happened here. I do want to go back to Alex Marquardt. Alex, you have some new reporting. What are you learning?
Well, just to answer the general's question there, Abby, there was a sense among U.S. officials that if there were a counterattack by Israel against Iran, that the U.S. would be warned about it, not just as a courtesy, because the U.S. is Israel's closest ally and its biggest supporter in terms of military aid and certainly in this war in Gaza, but also because an Iranian retaliation could significantly put American troops in harm's way. Of course, there are American troops in Syria, as well as Iraq. There are American ships throughout the Middle East. And so there was a sense from senior officials who I've been speaking with for the past few days that if Israel decided to carry something out, that they...
Told you. And also, America needs to prep up defenses too against Iranian retaliation.
Of what the U.S. knew and when. So again, to underscore that we do not know right now whether Israel has carried out any kind of strike. But I want to emphasize something that I learned a couple days ago, Abby, and that is the U.S. expectation. They had been told by Israeli officials that were there to be a counterattack, and that was the expectation. We have been expecting something from Israel over the course of the past few days. That it would be, to quote one official, limited in scope. And what that would mean is essentially, we think, a handful of strikes. Another official was saying a kinetic attack against, say, military targets. Again, back to Israel's efforts to try to thread the needle in terms of sending a message to Iran, hitting back at Iran without escalating this situation. I was just speaking with a senior U.S. official just moments ago.
That's insane. That is not escalating the situation. Are you fucking serious? That definitely is escalating
Nuclear
the situation.
Facilities. So we're talking about Isfahan. We're talking about the nuclear facility that is there. And I'm being told now by a U.S. official that their understanding from Israeli officials was that they would not go after any nuclear facilities in a counterattack. Again, we do not know that the explosions happened near there or at that facility, and we again don't know whether Israel carried out any kind of attack. But that certainly was the understanding from U.S. officials. One more thing, Abby, is that
will we switch or
the
not?
U.S. thought that Israel was going to
Taylor?
do something and strike back at Iran because of that attack last weekend. But the U.S. firmly did not want Israel to do this. And in speaking with this senior official just moments ago, that person said, there was no green light from the U.S. for any kind of retaliatory attack against Iran. Now, the U.S. is not.
If Taylor Swift drops an album instead of fucking condemning the Zionist apartheid regime, I'm going to lose it, okay? She's fake.
Israel's war in Gaza. The U.S. certainly has a large amount of leverage. And the U.S., along with close allies,
so
France and Britain, who, mind you, helped out in that, helped defend Israel last weekend. Other members of the G7, they all wanted Israel to, in the words of the White House, take the win, recognize that they had been attacked by Iran on a massive scale, and done a very, very good job at defending themselves, knocking some 99% of the projected.
She announced this album months ago, like, yeah, exactly. It's really fucked up that Israel would ruin her album release by doing this. Am I right? Come on, Swifties. You must be with me. Think about it. She literally announced months ago that she was going to fucking drop this album release, and now Israel chooses to strike. They couldn't wait like 3 fucking days so that we could listen to it as Swifties, because I am one. We couldn't listen to it for like 3 whole days, and then maybe we could go back to World War III. It's kind of fucked up. Swifties, I'm with you. Just remember that I'm with you. Remember the Swiftie that actually refused to serve for the Israeli occupying force and had to go to prison. Remember that? She was also a Swiftie. I am a Swiftie. I'm with her. So think about that.
Others have said in these past few moments, the foreign minister of Iran saying very clearly right here on CNN that they are very willing to hit back hard, hit back quickly, and expand the kind of targets that they tried to go after last weekend, which, as far as we know, were just military. Abby?
Alex, as you're talking there, we're just getting some new information. Iran is now saying that its air defense systems have been activated, seemingly indicating there was some kind of attack that transpired in its airspace. As we're talking now, I want to bring in political global affairs analyst Barak Ravid. Barak, I know that you are working your sources inside of Israel, inside of the U.S. government, to find out as much as you can about what's going on here tonight. What are you hearing?
I don't hear much from the Israelis. One of Netanyahu's aides,
what happened, Barak?
I spoke to just minutes ago.
I thought you had inside sources, Barak. What happened?
Me no comment. But on the other hand, it's 5 in the morning now in Israel, and he was awake. So I think it tells you a lot, even if he says no comment. Nothing much also from the Biden administration. All the officials I try to reach are in radio silence right now. But I think it's pretty clear to everybody what's going on. There's what seems to be quite a significant airstrike in Iran near Isfahan. and the air defense systems were activated. And I think it's fair to say that I cannot think of any other country right now, other than Israel, that has any interest or motivation to conduct such a strike in Iran.
It's an important point. Look, as you were hearing Alex Marquardt just a little while ago telling us what he had been hearing from U.S. officials, which is that they had been getting something that seemed to be parameters from the Israelis about what may or may not be fair game if there were to be a counterattack. According to Alex's sources, that they were not going to go after nuclear facilities. We do know that Isfahan there is a nuclear facility there, and just in February, Iran said that it started to build a research center there. So we know that. There's also an army facility near Isfahan as well. Do you hear anything on the Israeli side about what they think would be within the parameters of a counterattack?
Yeah, this is from a senior defense correspondent at Channel 13 inside of Israel. Based on the reports from Iran and the U.S., this is a limited and targeted attack on one Air Force base near Isfahan. Official Israel does not address the reports. Oh, great! I'm glad that it was limited and targeted, dude, as opposed to what indiscriminately firebombing the entire nation.
What the Israelis were trying to do is to conduct a strike that will be a retaliation on the one hand against a military target in Iran, but on the other hand will not be too big so that it would push Iran for an even bigger attack than they conducted last Saturday. And I think it's a very, it's a very complicated balancing act. I'm not sure the Israelis are calculating well enough Iranian intentions and the Iranian willingness to retaliate again for this Israeli strike. And I think the next...
Why are you saying Channel 13 isn't reliable? The Israeli chatter, the Israeli teenager I talked to earlier today said he relies on Channel 13 alongside Yosef Haddad after saying Haaretz is biased and bad and laughing about Ofer Kassif.
Maximalist response to any kind of Israeli activity in Iran, essentially. As you just
I thought
noted,
he said 13. He said Channel 14.
It's a question of whether the Israelis made the right calculation. If that is, in fact, the case, do you think that inside of Israel there would be some second guessing about the wisdom of a counterattack?
Well, I think that I don't know if to call it a hope or an assessment, but what I heard from Israeli officials in the last few days is that they think that the Iranians will retaliate, but...
This is so funny. Iran's going to go after Israel's nukes per the IRGC, bro. Chatter's got the IRGC in his back pocket.
It won't be a wider retaliation than the one they conducted last Saturday, and then, both sides will call it a day. But again, it's all assumptions. Nobody knows what the Iranians are going to do, and we can only look at what they were saying publicly. And you just said it a minute ago. They said that their response will be stronger than the initial attack on Saturday. And if that's the case, we might find ourselves in this, escalation after escalation after escalation that can lead us to a regional war.
Where does it end, Barak? I mean, where does the confidence come that after one retaliation and then another response that it might stop?
Until this moment, there has been no air attack from outside the borders of Isfahan or other parts of the country, and they have only made a failed and humiliating attempt to fly quadcopters, and the quadcopters have also been shot down. The news of the American media is not true. What is this? News sources have said that 3 explosions were heard near Army hunting base in the northwest of Isfahan. The defense is activated in response to an object that is likely to be a small bird. It is said that the Army radar is one of the possible targets, and the windows of several office buildings have been broken. Fars reported pictures in the front of the Shakari base.
You for all of that. CNN's Paula Hancock is in Beirut for us now. Paula, you are hearing now from the Iranians. What are they saying?
Well, Abby, what we have heard is the Iranians pointing out that if there was some kind of an Israeli response, if it went after Iranian assets, then the president,
Small bird is the wrong
Raisi, said
translation.
that the response
Small
from Iran...
drone, probably, right? I assume they're saying small drone, not small bird. That'd be funny.
A more dangerous response. Now, as far as Tehran was concerned, after the drone and the missile attacks of last weekend, almost as that attack was still ongoing on Israeli soil, we heard from Tehran that they said this has been concluded. So as far as they were concerned, at least as far as they said publicly, that was in response for the Israeli attack on the diplomatic compound in Syria, which they said they felt as if it were on their home soil, on Iranian soil. As they said, it was a diplomatic compound, and that was their response to that. They were very clear that they believed that that was the end of it, something which Alex reporting has shown as well, that the US was hoping would be the case. But clearly we have heard from the Israeli side that that is not the end of it, that they would be responding at some point as well. But from the Iranian side, we have also heard just yesterday, local time, on Thursday, from a Revolutionary Guards commander who's in charge.
HasanAbi, I thought you didn't cover breaking news. There's an exception. Genuinely curious. I hope that, you know what, every day we inch closer and closer to full-blown nuclear annihilation, and I welcome it when I get genuinely curious chatters like this, which is the new Just Curious. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't you think that this is a little bit different? Don't you think that this is a little bit different than like a random fucking shooting that has occurred? I don't know. Okay, fair. Oh, okay, fair, I guess. January 6th was breaking news too.
Israeli nuclear assets
I'm going to
for example,
kiss myself.
And that they
I
could
will.
go,
I'm going to kiss
those
myself.
Assets. Now, of course, a lot of this...
I'm not over here... Thank you. I'm not over here speculating on like whether or not a mass shooter is trans, okay? It's a little bit different looking at mainstream media coverage and also openly trying to parse through a shit ton of the misinformation. But like I said, like I have joked so many fucking times over, nukes could be launching right now and chatters would still be like, Hasan, you're a fake socialist. I just wanted to let you know that my final message before we die, before we perish from this earth, is that you're a fake socialist and I hate you, and have fun in your nice fucking Hollywood mansion surrounded by your loved ones, which is an own, I guess.
That city contains is a facility that converts uranium ore into yellow cake, and eventually that gets enriched and then becomes a nuclear weapon. So the why I think that could possibly be a target, going back to what General Marks said, is because Israel wants to show Iran that it has the capability to reach out and get to that facility. Now, we don't know if that specific facility was attacked. They could have just attacked around a military target around it in there in some cases. But the message I believe Israel would be sending, or hypothetically, is that they can get to that facility. That's an important facility because it's the second step in how nuclear bombs are made. And if Israel can take that linchpin out, then the Iran nuclear program is
like, notice how fast they've started talking about how valid this target is. They don't even know what the target is yet. We don't even know. They're like, we don't know what the target is, but if it is this, then it's such a good target to hit. I mean, my dick is hard thinking about how dope it was that Israel hit Iranian soil.
So, Major General, just as you were speaking, we are now hearing that there have been explosions near an army base there in Isfahan. What do we know about the military capabilities that are located in that area?
Well, they're likely air defense platforms. They have those kind of weapon systems protecting all of their nuclear facilities here. So again, Israel decides to attack, come due east across Iran, takes out air defense platforms that exist in there. And to General Marks's point, do they attack with a cruise missile? I likely think that they used manned aircraft in this kind of operation to ensure.
Yeah. The attack attributed to Israel in Iran. There is currently no Israeli confirmation. The response was planned in such a way that Iran could contain the attack, although even for the assassination of the Iranian general, the intelligence did not estimate that Iran would respond with a missile attack. This is actually interesting. This is honest. Exactly. Military correspondent for Con News says this. as we found out, Israel was like, oopsie, we didn't think Iran would retaliate if we killed a bunch of their fucking generals in a goddamn embassy compound, which they did. So now they're, now they're bombing Iranian soil, and I suspect that the consideration is still the same. Will Iran respond? I mean, oops, we didn't think that when they said we are going to retaliate swiftly with the might, with all of our might or whatever. I didn't think that that was real. Now, having said that, it might not be. It might not be a real retaliation, judging by how timid Iranian retaliation has been, how calculated Iranian retaliation has been consistently. While the world is showing that they are going to unconditionally defend Israel and offer political cover for Israel, whether it is doing a genocide or whether it is violating the sovereignty of other countries in the region, and only attack and respond politically when you retaliate, a lot of regional actors feel alone, that the rule-based international order is completely fucking fraudulent, which everyone already knew. So this puts Iran in a weird predicament as well, because it has to demonstrate strength. It has to project some semblance of strength, considering that Israel has no interest in stopping. And also, why would they? Nobody's fucking telling them to stop. Iran has allies? Not necessarily. Iran has strategic partnerships. I wouldn't say they're allies. I suppose that after the Iran's failed attack, Israel will do whatever they want because they are not scared anymore. Yeah, brother. See, this is exactly the kind of fucking attitude that I really hope dumbass Israeli officials don't have. Okay? Like, I hope this attitude is only relegated to Kevin Lomaxda and not like the actual fucking defense minister, Yoav Gallant. You know what I mean? Because if they're operating on this fucking idiotic assessment, then, well, that spells trouble. Thank God it's only Kevin so far that thinks that. I hope. Fars news agency reports that 3 explosions were heard near a military base northwest of Isfahan. Fars adds that a radar site may have been targeted. I do hope that it's just literally nothing. Like, this is just like a silly billy, very, very, very minor, no damage had, just like, oh, we have the capacity to fucking strike you, but we won't type shit. And then Iran's like, yeah, look how humiliated Israel is because they didn't actually hit anything. And the Western media is lying about the damage in order to fucking cope with the reality that Israel is scared of Iran's might. And then we just fucking end it there. Considering that they have not already retaliated, who knows? Who knows what it might be? But that, I feel like, is the best possible outcome here.
Control, because again, you've been showing the video yourself of the Iranian foreign minister threatening devastating responses should Israel attack Iran, which it certainly looks like they have done now.
Are there any more levers available to the United States to cool this down?
Well, I think President Biden has been doing his best, and you would think that he would have a lot of credibility because it was actually on Saturday. U.S. forces were defending Israel and shooting down actual missiles and drones that were headed to Israel. So that should buy a lot of goodwill. But clearly, the Israeli War Cabinet was not listening to President Biden. And I assume they're now counting on the U.S. to protect Israel once again from any possible Iranian retaliation. So I would say that the U.S. certainly has some leverage, but it's obviously pretty limited.
Yeah, and up until this point, it has not been enough to change the actions of Israel. They are a sovereign country, but they rely very heavily, as you pointed out, on the United States for protection and also for weaponry. Max, stand by for us. I want to go to Spider Marks. He's standing by, reiterating the news here for folks who are tuning in right now. 3 explosions have been heard near an army base inside of Iran, near the city called Isfahan. That is a very large city, the 3rd largest in Iran. It's one where we know there is a nuclear base, but there is also a military base as well. Spider Marks, tell us more about what the military capabilities are in that area. And if there was something targeted there, what could it be?
Clearly, you're going to find a military capability, primarily air defense, in the vicinity of these enrichment facilities. So not surprising at all. And also, when you go back to the nuclear deal that was signed a number of years ago that the United States
It's so funny when people find out when I joke about like, oh, we're bringing on General Spider Rapist. Like they don't realize that I'm actually making a joke about a real person that CNN brings on all the time.
The enrichment, and then transport or move that enrichment to a military facility.
He's not the only one. There's a bunch of generals with like psychopathic names like that.
With very short movement requirements, distribution requirements, that might be difficult to detect. So it's not surprising at all. And so going after an enrichment facility like
Mad Dog
that,
Mattis.
Ideally, we certainly don't know what took place. But there will be a requirement to do some very thorough.
Generals love fucking getting like weird ass names, bro. They literally get like, they get funny ass names off of like how badly they did war crimes.
Iranian nuclear progress, the development of this capability. There has to be an assessment of what they accomplished. If it was simply to describe a capability that the Iranians have, it's no mystery to the world that the Iranians can conduct military operations along multiple lines of effort simultaneously. We see that right now. Hezbollah, Hamas, efforts elsewhere in the region, and then conducting this strike into Iran. I mean, this is quite amazing, not surprising entirely. The Israelis have this incredibly capable military force. So if they're not sending a message, they're trying to achieve a result.
See, okay, there you go. Iranian officials and outlets are claiming that all explosions heard tonight are due to interceptions and that no explosions have occurred on the ground. Dude, regardless of how limited this fucking strike was, it's still insane, okay? The fact that it happened at all is a direct shot, not at Israel, not at Iran, is a direct shot at America, okay? Biden's out here being like, please keep doing the genocide in Rafah. We were lying. We were wrong. Okay? We were lying and we were fucking wrong when we said you can't do the Rafah genocide. Just keep genocide in the Palestinians. Just don't strike Iran. And then like the next hour, they're like, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Did you say strike Iranian soil directly? Because I think we got the wrong, it cut out a little bit in the conversation that we were having. And I think you meant strike Iran. No, the IRGC did not say they're going to target Israeli nuclear sites in response. The IRGC talked about the potential for striking Israeli nuclear targets earlier before the strike happened. I think that's what you're confusing this with, unless there's something new happening. I can't believe Iran is playing the nothing happened card. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that severe, considering that people did hear explosions. There are Iranian chatters and shit, but I haven't seen a single fucking piece of footage, not one, from the actual explosion. That is a little bit unique. And the only thing that you guys have sent me so far have been explosions from other places.
For over the past hour, this is a very visible strike. And now we have this confirmation that this was indeed Israel that is attacking Iran. So major questions now, where we go from here. We have to get a much better sense. Indeed, Israel and the U.S. have to have a much better sense of what was struck, what the damage was done, in order to be able to try to predict how Iran might respond. But we have gotten some very serious words from a whole range of Iranian officials over the course of the past few days, the latest of whom was this Iranian foreign minister in New York with our colleague Aaron Burnett tonight, warning that if Israel were to attack Iran, that they would strike back hard, that they would expand their range of targets beyond just military, like last weekend, to include civilian, financial, and others, and that they could do so immediately. One thing to note from the foreign minister's interview, he said that they would not be going after U.S. targets unless the U.S. were somehow directly involved. I was told very firmly by a U.S. official not too long ago that the U.S. certainly did not give the green light to this Israeli operation. What we have heard all week long from senior administrators.
What are you doing, bro? What is BRICS info? What is BRICS info? What is this? What is this? What is this? What are you doing? Bro, just send me Hinkeldink as a fucking source. Hey, up next on BRICS News, dude. Fucking... This is good stuff. This is an educational moment for chatters to understand, like, a little bit more media literacy. Now, some of these accounts will get shit right sometimes, okay? That doesn't mean you should trust them because they do not have a reliable way of verifying information. It's no different to me than sending me like the octopus that picked the right presidential candidate 8 years in a fucking row. It's literally no different than that octopus, okay? I don't know how many fucking picks that octopus made. Why am I watching local news programming right now? It's crazy. Do not insult him. I'm sorry. But that's what it is. It's the same fucking energy. This is the guy who tweets from that account. Well, I take back everything I said. It does seem unironically like BRICS info is pretty reliable. Yeah, I trust Matt with my life, dog. Thank you for understanding changing opinions. Yeah. Bro, check OSINT Brad DEFCON USA is a reliable source. Yeah.
Of course, they could have been other military units that the Israelis thought was high-value targets.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you want to send me reliable information, send it from the fucking war perverts, not OSINT accounts, but dudes that work for like the FDD, okay? I hate to admit this, but they are probably going to be the only source of reliable information in moments like this. It sucks. Yeah, the Foundation for Defending Democracy. Yes, you heard me. Okay. Think tank foreign policy Andes are still going to be, and even they are unreliable in real time, but at least they are fucking a little bit more reliable than OSINT guys who are looking at those guys and reposting their posts anyway. And also some Telegram shit. Like, BNO News is not great either, but this is at least like something that I've seen a lot. Fightux is a little bit more reliable, I guess, and that's where BNO News is getting their information from. But yeah, There's been no airstrike in Isfahan or other parts of the country. They only made a failed and humiliating attempt to fly quadcopters, and they were all shot down. God, I hate Marco Rubio.
One of the big questions, of course, is also what is Israel's long-term strategy? Is it seeking to prevent a nuclear weapon?
It seems for people who are saying, like, should I be worried? We don't know yet. We don't know what Iran will do in retaliation, but it does feel like the Iranian statements that have come out thus far have been very restrained, considering the minimal impact that this attack had. It still is a violation, but I guess they don't consider this to be as severe of a violation as the red lines that they said they would have. Fars news agency is good, obviously. This morning, some local sources reported this was. Wait, oh, this is. We covered this already, yeah. Some local sources reported the sound similar to an explosion was heard in the west of Tabriz city. Investigators by Fars reporters show that there was no explosion in Tabriz, and the air defense fired upon seeing a suspicious object. Tabriz Air Defense is located in the area of Wadi Rahmat in the north of the city. This defense overlooks the city of Tabriz and is located at a distance about 2 to 3 kilometers from Tabriz refinery and petrochemical. Currently, Tabriz is in complete peace. What? Air raid sirens activated in northern Israel. Yeah, I mean, that's probably like Lebanese pot shots. It's different. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is I don't know if it's because we're hyper focusing on it now. But something to remember is that given the fact that we do not fucking know, yeah, there you go. Iranian state TV is reporting that several small drones were shot down in the airspace of Isfahan province. So here's the thing. Given the fact that America said, don't fucking strike Iran, please, we'll let you do the genocide in Gaza, just don't strike Iran. And then Israel still struck Iran, albeit with a tiny fucking, with a minuscule attack, with an anemic attack. It still opens up the opportunity. It still potentially opens up the opportunity for Iran to retaliate. Like, there's no guarantee they're not going to retaliate in this circumstance. So the fact that Israel was able to say, fuck you, and push away American calls for restraint is again, another big fuck you to the United States of America. A Brazilian femboy I follows breaks news. They are trustworthy. Yeah, exactly. A U.S. official confirms to me that Israel had carried out a strike against Iran. Both the official and another senior U.S. official say Israel indicated they would not attack nuclear targets. U.S. didn't greenlight this attack, the second official told me. Just another fuck you, dude, because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee Iran doesn't retaliate. It seems like they won't, but I'm saying you don't know that before you do this attack. And Israel still did the attack. Response hours. As a treat, if they promise not to strike, I'm sure we'll hear about how privately I said, very cool that Israel gets to gamble on the Iranian response. Hours after Biden told them they could invade Rafah as a treat if they promise not to strike Iran, I'm sure we'll hear about how privately mad he is. Iran ground commercial aircraft across a wide area as the state-run media report air systems firing and the sound of explosions near the city of Isfahan. James Clapper weighed in on CNN. Predicts that Iran may strike back more strongly against Israel than its failed attack last week. I don't know. No. If that was going to happen, it would have happened already, I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. That is the gamble when you strike Iranian soil. But yeah, here, Itamar Ben-Gvir calling to dismantle the war cabinet yesterday due to their inaction. Pressure was clearly mounting on the coalition internally too. In Gaza, pictures of thousands bathing at the beach. In the north, Hezbollah saw that the conception cabinet was not responding to the attack of hundreds of missiles from Iran into Israeli territory, so it raised its head and took an aggressive step against us that today cost us wounded fighters. It's time to dismantle the conception cabinet. Does he mean war cabinet? Stop the policy of inclusion and proportionality and show our enemies that the landlord has gone mad. What? The landlord? Does he think that he owns the land all around, like all the way to Israel? Like what's happening? I mean, all the way to Iran? Or is that just a translation mistake? Just what he calls the war cabinet. Okay. As long as the current policy of the conception cabinet continues, unfortunately, absolute victory is getting further and further away. Bro, who's he talking to? Like, sure, there's a lot of further right-wing motherfuckers out there than Benjamin Netanyahu. But it's wild that he's just always getting like 1K fucking likes on tweets like this. It's like, bro, you ain't got the fucking juice. You know what I mean? What is this? God, dude, get on Ozempic, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Make something of yourself. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Go work out, dumbass. Maybe you'll be less hateful, you know? He's like, bro, I swear to God, I'm going to fucking disband the war cabinet, bro. I swear. If you don't let me do genocide right now, I'm going to fucking do it. That didn't work on Meatball Ron. Bro, please stop sending me the same fucking person saying I'm in Isfahan and I didn't feel the explosion. Please, I got it, okay? I got it. That person didn't see the explosion, okay? I know. I promise. I don't care. I do care, however, about official Iranian news sources and what they say. I think that the reason why we care about this is because the reason why we care about this is not only because of the potential damage. The major reason why we care about this is because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Fuck you. I doubt Iran responds. If it does, it could hit something sensitive in Israel, which in turn would lead Israel to conduct a more severe strike and an escalation cycle that ends in nuclear facilities hit in both countries. Neither side wants this. They just want to save face and establish deterrence. Exactly. I agree. Can we watch Iranian news? No, because none of you speak Farsi. I'm not going to fucking sit here and try to understand what the fuck's going on by looking at Iranian news. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Inside Israel, the conception is used to refer to the way of thinking before October 7th. So the conception cabinet basically means pussy cabinet. It's so funny because Itamar Ben-Gvir is the biggest pussy of all time. Like, oh, God. IDF says the alarms in the north were false alarms. Do you guys understand? Here's what we have right now. A couple hours ago, there were reports coming out that there were explosions being heard in Syria, explosions being heard in Iraq, and explosions being heard inside of Iran. immediately the explosions being reported inside of Iran being in Isfahan made people think that it was at the nuclear site. However, it seems like, especially because of how limited the information was, okay, it seems like it wasn't that severe. However, it's still a big gamble. Why is it a big gamble? Because you don't know what Iran is going to do in retaliation. And it's especially a big gamble because the United States of America said, don't do it. Okay? The nuclear site in Isfahan is reportedly okay, according to the Fars News agency. The nuclear facility in Isfahan is completely safe. The report of some foreign media about the incident in this facility is incorrect. So, like I said, even if Israel did not demonstrate their full power, their full striking capability here, it still doesn't matter. Because what if Iran did retaliate? That was always a very realistic outcome, considering that they said they would. So the fact that they still tried it to be like, here's our deterrence, either A, means that they just genuinely believe in Iranian restraint, which could be the case. But it's still a fucking major gamble regardless because it's an unknown situation. The point I'm trying to make, I guess, is that it is an unknown escalation that will potentially be met with maybe even disproportionate response from a foreign adversary that America said, don't fuck with them. And they did this right after there were news reports coming out from the Biden team saying, one, we are vetoing the Palestinian statehood recognition for you, Israel. And two, if you want to fucking invade Rafah, go ahead. As a treat, we will let you invade Rafah and continue your genocide. Just please don't strike Iran. The fact that Israel still turned around and struck Iran, albeit with a very anemic retaliation, is still fucked up. It's still a big fuck you. It almost feels like if Biden said, please, Israel, strike Iran, Israel would go, you know what? Fuck it. We're not going to do that. It's like opposite day over there. Whatever Biden says, the war cabinet does the exact opposite. The fuck's happening? So maybe, hopefully this means they won't invade motherfucking Rafah either, because Biden was like, you can invade Rafah. Just kidding. Of course that's not going to happen. They're going to do both. Does not sound like nuclear sites were targeted. Military targets only. U.S. was notified in advance. Escalation was not the objective. Israel demonstrating its capability to reach inside of Iran at will. That is a step taken tonight to begin restoring deterrence. It's so funny that the FDD guy, Richard Goldberg, is saying this. Like Iran doesn't know that Israel has the capability of reaching inside of Iran. Israel has reached inside of Iran before. The fuck are we talking about? Both through cyber attacks and also with direct targeting. What do you mean? And yeah, he's wrong. The United States was notified in advance, but the United States did not greenlight it. So there's that part too. Senior U.S. official tells Marquard TA, Alex Marquard, Chief National Security Correspondent, that Israel informed the U.S., but we didn't endorse the response. Do you think the U.S. warned Iran through back channels? Fuck no, I don't think so. But I don't know. But I would doubt it. It's so funny that, like, this is, I think, mathematically the worst possible outcome for Biden. Like, I can't comprehend it. It literally feels like more of a fuck you to Biden than it is to Iran. Sending fucking, like, quadcopter drones or whatever the fuck they sent in that will easily be swatted away by any capable countries' anti-aircraft defense systems is literally less of a fuck you to Iran than it is to Biden, especially after Biden was like, don't do it. Don't fucking do it, Jack. What is happening here? I mean, it could be multiple different reasons. Like our chatter brought up, that internal pressure from the war cabinet that demands a response that directly strikes Iran could be part of the reason. Bro, Ben-Gvir isn't seen as a pussy by his followers. He's literally seen as a strongman and a thug. This is how he presents himself. Just watch the video of him pulling out a gun on an Arab security guard from 2021. I remember this, dude. I remember this. His voice is breaking. Shut up, bitch. Fucking pig. No, I refuse. You cannot say escalation was not the objective when Israel bombed an embassy and attacked, doing, ironically, the most minimal casualty count. And now their response is to fire back, hoping there's no escalation. No, I think it's fucking stupid. I think Israel is that stupid to some degree. Or at least like they're communicating to Western media that they are that stupid. Because if they were genuinely worried that they would come across like fucking dumbasses, there wouldn't be a New York Times article today, literally with the headline, Israel didn't think killing Iranian generals in an embassy compound would be worthy of a missile strike retaliation from Iran. So even if they genuinely are that stupid, or they're just presenting themselves as such, they are trying to communicate to the rest of the world that they are that fucking dumb. I personally think they're not that fucking dumb. I think that they do want to escalate the conflict, and they're going to keep prodding and pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to warrant some kind of response from Iran, with the hopes that it will inevitably bring the United States of America into the conflict in a very meaningful way.
Really important reporting will continue to go to you as well. Important note that on February 26th of just this year, a nuclear watchdog report did suggest that Iran is enriching uranium to 60%. It's an important figure because weapons-grade uranium needs to be enriched to 90% to make a bomb. And just earlier on our own airwaves, the Iranian foreign minister was speaking to CNN. This is before the strikes, and said in case the Israeli regime embarks on adventurism again and takes action against the interests of Iran, the next response from us will be immediate and at a maximum level. It will be decisive. That was the Iranian foreign minister speaking to CNN earlier this evening. I want to bring in CNN Pentagon correspondent Oren Lieberman. Oren, you reported in the region for a very long time. What is Israel's message now with this strike?
A large part of that depends on the damage on the ground, and we'll get a better sense of that in the coming hours and days. But if the initial reports coming out of Iran are correct, and it is fairly minor or relatively small damage, then the message from Israel is simply to point out that they have the capability to do this. It's not just Iran that can fire hundreds of miles and hit Israel. Israel has the capability to do that exact same thing right back to Iran. And Isfahan is an interesting choice there because of the nuclear facilities. At least in the initial reports, it doesn't seem like that's what Israel was going after in this strike, but it's a clear message to Iran that if this escalation continues and gets out of control, it is well within Israel's capabilities to hit Iran's nuclear facilities. That looks like the message being sent here. Of course, now the question, does Iran follow through on the promise made by the foreign minister and others to retaliate for this attack and fire back? Is Iran going to fire more ballistic missiles and drones at Israel? And what happens in that case? The U.S. position is clear. The U.S. will try to help intercept any launches as early as possible that are targeting Israel. It's the other countries and the other partners in the region that are the question mark here. They participated For example, Jordan intercepting foreign objects in its airspace over its territory and participating in the interception of that Iranian attack several days ago. Do they do that again? Are they willing to take that step? Or now that they see that this is Israel's retaliation, do they step out of that? It's a much bigger task for the U.S. if they have to defend the airspace on their own. That's one of the key questions here. We haven't seen the Pentagon comment at this point. We haven't heard a public statement from military officials. But just like the White House, just like Israel, the Pentagon obviously watching the situation there very closely, Laura.
Oren, we've now seen both countries try to demonstrate their capability to reach one.
MAGA communists were right. Donald Trump, once again, based, permanent first world genocidist, Maoist third worldist. He destroyed the Iran denuclearization agreement, hoping that Iran would reach nuclear proliferation immediately. And when Iran literally pussied out and was like, no, we're still going to follow the protocols because this is a big fucking deal for us. Please don't sanction us. He still sanctioned them, even though the European counterparts were still investigating the nuclear facilities and saying that they were complying. Donald Trump, on the other hand, being the J.D. Pawn advocate that he is, said, no, permanent first world genocide now. Iran deserves nukes, and said, no, we're going to put sanctions on Iran again, as a matter of fact, even though you're complying. Why? So that Iran could develop nukes and that we could have a nuclear holocaust. That is the reason why Donald Trump did this. He was a Maoist third worldist. I never understood this until this very moment. Turns out Donald Trump, Lisan al-Gaib, said family atomics for Saudi Arabia. Now Joe Biden is giving family atomics to Saudi Arabia. Okay, family atomics for all, he said. Nukes for all, baby. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It was always the case. The case was that Donald Trump is literally a Maoist third worldist. And the MAGA communists were correct.
And other capabilities, but they probably pose a very limited threat to the Israelis. The other thing to keep in mind, Laura, is that when it comes to the nuclear facilities in and around Isfahan, the one that's really important is the Natanz nuclear facility. And that is 120 kilometers or about 70 miles away from Isfahan. So if you strike the area around Isfahan, you are not going to be striking the city of Isfahan, that is, you're not going to be striking Natanz. But you are telling them, as we've talked about, you are telling everybody that you can reach this area and you can, in fact, eliminate that threat or at least attack that threat if you need to do so.
When he says it's well within their reach, he's framing it as it's well within their right, because everyone knew Israel could hit Iran. But when you frame it in the sense of it's well within, it's almost automatic for Westerners to preempt with right. I mean, they have openly stated that. That part they openly stated as well. Dude, the fucking guy literally was like, we don't even know what happened. We don't even know if it's a nuclear base, but if it is, it's fucking sick. Imagine how dope it is that Israel may have struck the nuclear facility. I mean, that would be sick. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what happened. Why are you fucking defending it? What's wrong with you? Do you think Israel is trying to call Biden's bluff? Do they think he's bluffing about the extent of U.S. involvement? I don't know what the fuck Israel's doing as far as Biden's bluff. I do know, however, that Benjamin Netanyahu benefits from not Biden. He doesn't like Biden. Even though Biden has been a fucking rabid Zionist from the jump. Like, Biden is a more consistent ally to Israel than even Donald Trump is, because Donald Trump is volatile. If you fucking hurt his feelings, like, who knows what he might do. There's a level of instability with Donald Trump. But Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are the exact same type of corrupt fascist idiots that I think, like, he likes the prospect of Donald Trump being in power, because he thinks he probably can manipulate Donald Trump way better than he can even manipulate Biden. But you don't even need to manipulate Biden. Like, Biden will do it anyway. So Trump got a bit colder. No, he didn't, dude. Are you kidding me? Trump will be fucking being like, kill the Iranian dogs now. Like, get the fuck out of here. Y'all are crazy. Iranian media saying drone attack came from Kurdistan. What? Was carried out through parties located in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Damn, bro. Turkey's about to pop in. Turkey's about to jump in, dude. Any day now. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is sending the fucking... sending the commandos to Israel. Trust. Biden is asleep right now. He will wake up mad as fuck. If Iran doesn't respond, I think it's all calculated by all parties. I mean, it doesn't seem like they will. Because everything that the Iranian media has said has been very, very careful. Iran state media claims target in alleged Israel strike was not nuclear sites. Earlier today, the IRGC commander in charge of security of nuclear facilities said that Iran's nuclear policy can change if nuclear sites are hit, implying a move towards the production of nukes. Post hoc rationalization. What? What's the post hoc rationalization? Iran should just accept that Israel is USA backed and they don't have much of a shot. I mean, yeah, they should just sit back and take it, honestly. Everyone should sit back and take it. It's all up to Israel. No one else. Oh, chatter that said it was all planned. Yeah, no, I don't think it was all planned. I don't think Israel is operating within the bounds of reason here. But it doesn't seem like it was a big deal, so that's good.
The dominant position on both sides.
Bobby Ghosh, thank you so much. I want to reference and play right now what the Iranian foreign minister told CNN's Aaron Burnett just earlier tonight.
I don't know what the reason is for why they're showing this kind of stuff and not necessarily showing that the Iranian media is consistently saying, at least with the limited amount of information we have from Iranian media, they keep repeating over and over again that it's not that big of an attack, that it was like basically nothing. Yeah, we already showed this Hossein Dalirian. Until this moment, there's been no air attack from outside the borders of Isfahan, or other parts of the country, and they have only made a failed and humiliating attempt to fly quadcopters, and the quadcopters have also been shot down. Why is my brother calling me? Are you okay? Is everything?
Response from us will be immediate and at a maximum level. It will be decisive.
Very daunting words. It will be immediate at a maximum level. It will be decisive. I want to bring in CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Kim, the foreign minister, you've heard the words he's spoken, that it would be immediate. How does the United States now go about managing what has obviously now been elevated to the next level?
Well, one of the scary things that we've been talking about this evening is the fact that the Iranians are closing the airspace and closing all those different airports, because they could be doing that to keep civilian aircraft safe, or they could be doing that to prepare for immediate retaliation.
Well, Israel spent 2 days after Iran saying that it was nothing and mocking it and then retaliated. I'm not sure the Iranian media response right now means they won't retaliate. No, Eve Shartlow's poop sock. It does. Because Iran also said that if you actually struck us and violated our red lines, we would retaliate immediately. So, and Iran has been the more restrained party in this process, literally from the start. Restrained, depending on where you are in the region and depending on what you believe, okay, maybe to a fault. Oh my God, bro. Are you okay? Are you all right? What the fuck's this guy doing? The dude who got, no, I'm talking about the dude who got clapped. He's like, bro, you have to look at Jackson Hinkle, Dink. It's disingenuous to mention that the clip was made before the bombings occurred today. Yeah, that's what I mean. No, my brother's fine. He's just been duking out of his butt a lot. So Israel's calling Iran's bluff? No, if Israel was calling Iran's bluff per se, they would have probably struck with way more significant, with way more serious weapons. I think Israel's just taking pot shots. I guess you could say that they are calling Iran's bluff, but not with a decent amount of force that would genuinely require. Here's a tweet they mean, I think. Don't you think the attack might have been weak because they're low on ammo? Bitch, Israel is never low on ammo. They got us.
Violated. The Israelis hit, actually, their targets. Like, you know, the why behind the target still remains. Was it to get close to the nuclear facilities? Was it to destroy aircraft or missiles that were possibly launched from that location on the attack? Was it, again, to go after air defense systems that they want to take out now that will help them in the future? So again, I think it just shows that from a deterrence perspective, it's back on the ball's back on the side of Israel. They have
I think if
much more
Iran was going to retaliate, and if they thought that this was like a severe enough attack, they would have already retaliated. We'd be covering the Iranian retaliation right now.
Reporting talks about that the range of targets never specified in precise terms, but nuclear and civilian locations were not in the category of the types of information they were going to try to carry out. When you hear this, Max, and see the potential for escalation, we do know that the United States, according to our reporting, had some notice that it was coming in the days. Does that have an impact on the United States' need to involve themselves, or are we still in a watchful position?
They took 2 weeks to retaliate last time. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This time, before the retaliation last time, they literally urged the international community to take action against Israel and only retaliated after they didn't. And also, this time they literally said, if Israel attacks our nuclear facilities, like, we will explore the nuclear option. And if Israel attacks us on Iranian soil, we will immediately respond with massive force. So I think that I don't think that they are. If Iran was going to retaliate, the council will be meeting also. There have been no emergency meetings of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, according to the Tasnim news agency. Why aren't the Israeli officials claiming it? No, they did, I think. Also, I actually don't know. Didn't they? I thought they did. Bro, whatever. America already confirmed it. Who gives a shit if fucking Israel confirms it or not? You know what I mean? Like, America already confirmed it. That's it. That's all you need, bro. What do you mean Israel didn't confirm it? When does America even confirm Israeli actions? Sometimes Israel will be like, yeah, we did that shit. And America will be like, did they? So I'm sorry. But if America is confirming that Israel struck a target, I'm going to go with Israel definitely struck a target. Like, literally, Kirby, the State Department official, was fielding questions as Israel was like, yeah, we struck those fucking World Central Kitchen guys. Sorry, my bad. We're looking into it. And they were asking Kirby about it. And that motherfucker was like, did they? And if they did, maybe it was good. Did you think about that? Maybe they were Hamas. It's like, bitch, you don't know? The fuck do you mean? So, yeah. We are definitely, depending on who you're talking about at the State Department, depending on which spokesperson we're talking about, like, We're sometimes to the right of Israel on issues. It's fucking insane, which is, of course, precisely the reason why I think it was Matt Miller. They got yelled at by the IDF. But yes, tonight the Nothing Ever Happensers have won once again. Although like I said, things are happening all the fucking time, and the Nothing Ever Happensers are fucking delusional and stupid for saying nothing ever happens, only because they live in fucking America. And these Amerifat pieces of shit only think something happens when their goddamn gasoline is fucking $5 extra per gallon. Okay? When they start paying European prices for gas, they're like, oh, something is happening. You stupid fucking diabetic piece of shits out here with the nothing ever happens nonsense. 40,000 motherfuckers are dead, and motherfuckers still in the chat, including Weeby, going, nothing ever happens. No, things are happening all the fucking time. Okay? I hate that. It is all Weeby, just so you know, you are posting like a fucking bisexual OSINT Nordic guy who fucking literally is like 3 steps removed from being a Nazi. Okay? Bisexual catboy OSINT posting when you say nothing ever happens. Just so you know. Dudes who will be like, why don't we wipe out the Russian orcs? Nothing ever happens posting. Anyway, I'm glad that nothing ever happens today. But yeah, it's just the only people that get away with saying shit like that are people that just don't live in the region where things are happening all the fucking time. We all fall into that trap. I know. It's just like, whatever. I'm doing fucking 9 hours and 30 minutes of full-blown news. It's annoying. Oh. What do you think Iran's response will be? I don't think I don't know. I'm not going to make a prediction on this, but judging by what they've done so far, they've been restrained. And like I said, depending on where you are living, you might even say too restrained to a fault even. So, I think it's good that they're restrained, obviously. And we shall see what happens. But it is, once again, another very obvious Israel told fuck you to America moment. Anyway. Yeah, the Israelis didn't and probably won't confirm themselves to help Iran avoid retaliation. They've also used quadcopters to hit Iranian targets in the past. In February 2022, they sent 6 to blow up a drone facility in Iran. Yeah, see, I told you. Israel has fucking struck Iran before, but it's more like it's always done in a way where it is an open secret. But this was in Erbil, Iraq, so it's different. But they have, no, wait, Iranian missile structures building in Erbil, Iraq on Sunday that Iran said housed in Israeli intelligence operation. But Israel has struck Iran before. Like they'll kill Iranian nuclear scientists. They'll do a whole bunch of shit, but it's never with this many eyeballs on it. I do think that, what is this? Iran primer. Oh, the timeline Israeli attacks on Iran. Yeah, this is an insane one. A physics professor at Tehran University was killed by a remote control bomb planted on a motorcycle. The device detonated as he left home in northern Tehran to go to work. The government described Ali Mohammadi as a nuclear scientist, but said he did not work for the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran. Then they did the Stuxnet, as you guys know. We've talked about that before. November 29th, 2010, Professor Majid Shariati, a member of the nuclear engineering faculty at Shahid Beheshti University in Tehran, was killed in his car on his way to work. His wife was wounded by the blast. Like, Israel attacks Iranians on Iranian soil all the fucking time. Iran has been funding, supplying, and encouraging attacks on civilians for decades, often with money from America. Wait, what? What fucking planet are you hallucinating from, dude? What are you saying? Do you mean Israel has been funding, supplying, and encouraging attacks on civilians for decades, often with money from America? Did you accidentally type Iran instead of Israel? What is going on? What? I think this is an Elon take. I want to know. He's probably talking about the money we confiscated but then gave back. But it was never our money. It was South Korea money for Iranian oil that they purchased that we decided they can't get. The fuck? Like, where's the American financing coming from? I just don't understand it. Anyway, yeah, and I do think that we froze those assets anyway. Again, doesn't Iran back Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis? Yes. What is your point? Whoa, Raiders from Matt Binder and Surfs TV. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Maybe he means Iran-Contra. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Finally, Barack is a source peeping. A senior U.S. official told me Israel conducted a strike in Iran tonight. He said that Israel notified the U.S. in advance. We were not surprised, the official said. Nice, man. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Iran would be openly stating that nothing happened and it was fucking bullshit and it was like a humiliating bitch-made attack if they were going to strike back. It's going to be hilarious when Trump is back in office, and you'll all be whining day and night, wondering why you wanted Biden gone so badly. Wait, so I don't get it. That's how little the difference is for you. Like, it doesn't make sense. Didn't you just openly demonstrate that, like, Trump or Biden doesn't really matter to you? Who wins? You're just in it for making fun of me, I guess. Doesn't that immediately violate the other premise that you're trying to present here, that like Biden is significantly better than Donald Trump? Well, I guess not for you. This doesn't make any sense. The classic debate pervert guy. Classic debate pervertry. I don't really care who's in charge. I'm just in it because it'll make you mad. What the fuck? Just pure dumbassery, bro. It's going to be hilarious when Trump is back in office and you'll all be whining day and night, wondering why you wanted Biden gone so badly. Is something that only a Biden supporter who understands the seriousness that Trump represents would say. So what is it? Do you think Trump is actually significantly worse than Biden? If so, don't you think that if you're engaging in harm reduction, don't you think that, you know, you'd have much larger problems to worry about, like the tremendously dangerous Trump presidency? You already have demonstrated that you don't give a fuck if Trump is president, because all you care about is how hilarious it'll be, because you'll find that like leftists will be upset. There it is. These motherfuckers never care. They don't give a shit about anything. All they care about is basically owning the left. But he's a liberal. He's a fake, phony liberal. He's just aesthetically a liberal. And the only reason why he's a liberal is because when he openly fucking mentions he's a Nazi, everybody goes, oh, dude, that's nasty. You're gross. So these fucking dumbass 4chan idiots have decided it's actually much more calculated and better to be a fucking nihilistic edgelord as long as I present myself as a Biden-supporting Democrat. My man Bernie Sanders now has all the momentum. Hillary Clinton is starting to feel the burn. Hashtag feel the burn. That's what happened. How'd you go? How'd that happen? How'd that happen, Akeem? Damn, M. Hunt, that was quick as fuck, dude. Holy shit. What happened, bro? What happened? Come on, address it. Come on, big dog. Address that shit. I unbanned him already. I immediately unbanned him after Lake McGroove banned him. What happened, big dog? The dream died when we couldn't feel the fucking burn. So you just felt homeless politically. So you just looked for whatever fucking edgelord would sing the praises that you want to hear. You went back to the fucking roots of what you actually care about online. Being a nihilistic fucking edgelord who wants to say slurs as a white dude. Is that what happened? White adjacent? There's no difference between this fucking asshole and the likes of what do you call it? Jackson Hinkledink. Whatever the fuck his name is. No, he's not banned. I unbanned him immediately. It's just like dudes who are bandwagoners who just fucking run around and they're like, well, this thing seems cool. I'll join it. I'll be on board with that shit. Also, an important point, if it's quadcopters, then the attack came from the Israeli operatives inside Iran, not outside, as they would have had to be a few miles away from the airbase to control them. If so, this was also the Israelis demonstrating they can mobilize likely local Iranians inside Iran very quickly in the event of a conflict. Anyway. Yeah, terminal contrarian brain illness. What was I gonna say? Oh, fuck it. Our gaming session was disrupted.